Afternoon, and the big story on Action News at noon is breaking. A judge just ordered all charges dropped against former Philadelphia police officer who was charged with killing Eddie Irizarry.
Now, the judge cited a lack of significant evidence against former officer Mark Dial. Dial was charged with murder for the deadly shooting in Kensington back on August 14th. Dial's attorneys argued that he fired in self-defense and should not be charged with murder.
Let's get right to Action News reporter Maggie Kent live for us in Center City with more on the stunning results of today's hearing. Maggie?
Well, John Paul, I can tell you that when Judge Wendy Pugh made her decision to dismiss all of the charges that former officer Mark Dial was facing, you heard two audible screams, one from the side of the supporters of former officer Dial, a sigh of relief for them, and of course for the family of Eddie Irizarry, who was shot on August 14th. Sighs, they just felt as though justice would not be served in their son, their brother, their nephew's case, and they made that very clear afterwards today. We also heard from the DA, who says they are filing the paperwork to appeal this decision to dismiss all of the charges now. Here are the charges that former officer Mark Dial faced: first-degree murder and third-degree murder. Now, you need to prove premeditation for first-degree and malice for third-degree murder. Again, Judge Wendy Pugh saying there was insignificant evidence to do just that. He was also charged with voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, simple assault, and official oppression. Now, I have to remind you, it's not just the murder charges that were taken off the table, but all charges. Dial was being held at a Philadelphia prison and will be released based off of what Judge Wendy Pugh decided this afternoon. For the Irizarry family, who had to watch the body camera footage again and again today of Eddie being shot and killed on August 14th on a Kensington street after a traffic stop for erratic driving. They say this is no justice at all. It sends a message that police can do whatever they want.
It's videos everywhere. The neighborhood, witnesses in the neighborhood proved that my nephew did not come out of that car. He locked the doors to his vehicle. His windows was up. Where's the threat? Even if he has a small pocket knife, where's the threat? Where is it?
I mean, this case should have never been brought. I don't know whether they interviewed this police officer before. I don't know whether they looked at the video with the sound. I don't know what they did, but in that courtroom, based on what we saw, what you saw, and what this judge saw, the only right thing to do happened here in this case, and that was a dismissal of all charges.
Again, all of those charges, about 5 or 6 of them dismissed against Mark Dial, a former Philadelphia police officer. The judge saying there was insignificant evidence. In this case, we did see just this morning arguments from both sides, but of course, they also presented evidence. We saw the body camera footage from Dial's partner. We saw Dial's body camera footage, and we also saw an aerial view from a doorbell camera of exactly what happened, surveillance of what happened during that traffic stop. We also happened to see Dial take Irizarry to Temple Hospital to get him treatment. Of course, he died on August 14th. The family says, we've spoken to their lawyer before, they are filing a civil suit against the city and potentially against Dial himself. And as I mentioned, the district attorney says they're heading right back to the office right now to file an appeal. We're live at the criminal courthouse. Maggie Kent, Channel 6, Action News. Guys.
Wow, some stunning developments today. Maggie, thank you for that report.
Irizarry was captured on Mark Dial's body-worn camera, his partner's body cam, and by a doorbell camera. But this morning, a judge ruled there wasn't enough evidence that a crime was committed. I'm Yuki Washington.
I'm Jessica Cartalia. Hours after that ruling, the DA's office filed a motion to refile charges against Dial. We have team coverage tonight. Let's get started with Dan Snyder, who was in the courtroom for today's decision. Dan?
Yuki and Jess, good evening. Yeah, inside that courtroom, you could really feel the sense of shock from people who were in there as this ruling came down today. It was certainly an emotional day inside this preliminary hearing as we once again saw that police body cam video of the shooting. Family members of Eddie Irizarry cried as Eddie's body was seen being pulled from his own car. Mark Dial also cried at least twice from what I could see. But throughout all this, the family and prosecutors are maintaining this is not the end for this case.
It's sad. There should have been justice today. This is sad.
In this courtroom today, there was justice. This should have never been charged as a crime. and we're elated that Mark's coming home to his family.
Justice depends on who you ask Tuesday after a judge dismissed all charges against former Philadelphia police officer Mark Dial in the deadly shooting of Eddie Irizarry. Dial faced first-degree murder, third-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, and other charges. Dial's defense called the decision a win.
Once we saw the knife, once we heard the testimony, once the court heard everything in this case, there was nothing under the law that she could do but discharge this case.
Today we heard from Dial's partner that August day, Officer Michael Morris. He testified to prosecutors that he, quote, vocalized Irizarry was holding a knife. But on cross, Morris wavered on what he actually said. We caught up with prosecutors as they left the courtroom.
We do not agree with the judge's decision today to dismiss all the charges. We will file an appeal of this decision before the end of the day today.
Tuesday also marked a tough and emotional day for the Irizarry family.
Everyone in Philadelphia seen a murder. They see my nephew get murdered, ambushed in car, and then